Hello everyone and welcome to Verona Area High School. We're just outside Curtis Jones Field where Friday night our first wisconsinprepzone.com game of the week. The Verona Wildcats host the Sun Prairie Cardinals. He's Dennis Semrau, I'm Rob Hernandez, and this is week one of Prep Rally. And Dennis, as season openers go, it doesn't get any bigger than Verona Sun Prairie, in large part because the Big Eight, as they do every year, have to start playing conference games right away. But when you get two rivals like this picked to finish near the top of the conference, wow, that's quite a matchup.
Weren't we just here?
It feels like it. Playoff game.
Was it quarterfinals?
Quarterfinals, sunshiny day, much like today, and it was a packed house over behind us at Curtis Jones Field. And boy, you know, it does seem like yesterday, but now these coaches behind us trying to start anew. Talk about the challenge, Dennis, of trying to play this ball game with so few practices and so little preparation time to really get beyond just the fundamentals and focus on the X and O's.
Well, first of all, with a passing attack like Sun Prairie has, it's not a good week to have four new defensive backs, which is what Verona's facing. On the other side of the ball, Sun Prairie, known for their offensive line, have to replace four linemen. And if you ask Brian Kaminsky, like most coaches, if you have a line or the backfield, which would you have brand new? You'd rather have that veteran line running behind. In this case, he's got a quarterback and a receiver, Ryan Kern to Michael Marchese. Last time we saw him, I believe they completed 15 passes.
That's right.
So we knew it was coming up because they were just sophomores. And then we've got a good running game. And on the other side of the ball, wow, Craig Evans, four D1 scholarship offers, including Wisconsin. He's been around forever, and he's only a junior.
He's only a junior, 300-pounder, and he is going to be a hard obstacle to get around for that wing T offense of the Verona Wildcats. Now, Dennis, as you look at this matchup, does Sun Prairie have the edge because of all these skill position players? Typically, when we talk about the season openers, we talk about how long it takes that offense to kind of get in rhythm. Sun Prairie, though, with as many kids as they have back, that won't be a problem, will it?
No, I don't think so. I believe 7 starters on offense. Again, the offensive line is the one key. But when you have a quarterback who's been around, both he and Marchese just got finished with the state baseball championship game. It seems like that was just a few weeks ago, right?
That's right. It sure seems like it. Now, Dennis, Verona defensively, a lot can happen to stop a team. Verona's trademark has always been a very good defense, always well prepared. What do they have to do to stop Sun Prairie, and can this be a low-scoring battle?
I got a feeling it's going to be both teams. I mean, again, last year, you know, we had a little bit of explosion, I think, at the end of the year. Tyler Parker's gone for Verona, and that was a big one. He had 1,800 yards. We're looking for maybe a Dom Wise for Verona. That's going to be a real challenge for that Sun Prairie defense, conference running back. And I think you like to say the defenses have the edge early, but maybe 35-34 final score. You never know.
Never know.
And Verona has an all-conference kicker back as well.
I was going to say, Sun Prairie does not have Lucas Otto back. When we saw him here in the playoffs, was that 58, 59 yards? It was.
I want to say it'll be 75 by the time we're done.
By the time we're done.
As the legend goes.
Well, you've heard us talk about this big matchup. Let's talk to the two coaches, Brian Kaminsky of Sun Prairie and Dave Richardson of Verona.
It's going to be a great matchup, without a doubt. They're a great football team. Coach Richardson does a tremendous job with that offense and that defense over there. It's going to be two teams that now know each other pretty well. You know, this will be our third game out of our last 13 against Verona over there, and we're just expecting a quality matchup. And hopefully we were fortunate enough to come out on top, but it's going to come down to two quality programs playing hard and playing 4 quarters.
When you have 8 conference games, and you've got 10 teams in the conference, every game is an important game. Every game is, you don't have non-conference to kind of get your feet wet. We step right into the fire with Sun Prairie, and that's okay. Let's see where we are from week one. You know, I've said every year, if you can go undefeated, obviously that's great, and we were lucky enough to do that last year. But 1 or 2 losses is generally going to be in the top, on top in the Big Eight conference. So, we just hope to do as well as we did last year and see where the chips fall.
Well, Dennis, the Big Eight Conference, the only conference in action on Friday night. The Six Rivers Conference has its jamboree Saturday down at UW-Platteville. So most of the big games this week, non-conference games, and there's another one on the schedule that we really can't overlook.
Wow.
Wanakee, Monona Grove, the two powers of the Northern and Southern Badger, going at it at the Clement Athletic Complex in Monona. That will be one classic game for both teams.
Do you believe Monona Grove is 32-3 the last 3 years? 2 losses in the quarterfinals to Wanakee on their way to 2 of their 3 state championships. And it's a 36-game winning streak on the line for Wanakee as well.
Yeah.
Last time they lost was to Reedsburg, and then remember that year both those teams won state titles. So it's a big one for both. You'd rather have this one, you think, at home, but in some ways for Wanakee to go on the road to bond, that home winning streak they have, which goes back to 1998, that's another big elephant on the back.
Yeah, well, in a 36-game winning streak, Dennis, if they have a third straight unbeaten season, They knock off Manitowoc's state record winning streak of 48 games. So there's a lot riding on these games even early for Waunakee.
Right, and Stratford's the only team to win 4 or more. They've won 6 titles in a row, so Waunakee's trying to join them in a very select group.
Now, how do you look at the matchup? Does Monona Grove have the horses to maybe take this game in the fourth quarter and spring the upset?
I think they do. They break in a new quarterback, Brett Percy, who's an all-conference defensive back. They have a great middle linebacker in Marcus Goff. And then, as we found out over the weekend, Jaden Galt is committed to play at Wisconsin. He's only a junior. 6'7", 290. Right next to him, Mike Sullivan, another senior lineman who I believe will be playing college football. Just they've got the package. On the other side, 7 players are back for Waunakee with that state tournament experience. It starts at quarterback with Will DeCora, who's actually a defensive lineman. He was a defensive end last year. Instead of chasing quarterbacks, which he still might do a little bit, he'll be getting chased. And he's got a great line in front of him. Dean Helt was all-conference, and Jacob Ornesorgi is a 3-year starter and was all-state.
Well, a lot of pieces to the puzzle to be determined here the first few weeks. Is the personnel in the right spot, Dennis? Are people playing in the positions that will put not only them but the teams in positions to succeed? But all that to be determined here this week. A couple other ball games to talk about too. Lodi down at McFarland, their annual season opening non-conference game. That'll be an interesting matchup. Both teams expected to have good seasons in the Northern Capital and the Northern Rock Valley Conference respectively. And then Cambridge Deerfield also matching up on week 1, a couple of old Eastern Suburban Conference rivals. Cambridge expected to have a very good season in the Southern Capital, and of course Deerfield in the large trailways has had a good run of success there. So there you have it. We'll have live blogs and we'll have complete coverage of the Big Sun Prairie Verona game as our game of the week here on madison.com, and coverage of all the big games throughout the area on week 1 of the high school football season. For Dennis Summerall, I'm Rob Hernandez. Thanks for watching Prep Rally. We'll see you at the stadium.